I'm very passionate about helping people, period. Sometimes life pulls you from up here to down here to teach you a lesson. And you're in a valley right now. And there are lessons in this valley. I hope you learn from them.
Objective, independent justice.
You can always turn your life around. If you keep walking, you can overcome whatever circumstances you're facing.
This is Supreme Justice with Judge Karen. Mariah Leonard is suing her cousin, Joelle Wilson, in the amount of $4,607. Ms. Leonard claims she allowed Ms. Wilson to live in her guest house and says her cousin refuses to pay for the floors she ruined. Ms. Wilson claims she doesn't know what happened to the flooring and says she shouldn't be held accountable for the damages.
All right, Miss Leonard, you are suing Miss Wilson for $4,607, which represents the property damage to wood floors.
Exactly.
Okay, and Miss Wilson is your relative, right?
Yes, she is.
What's her relationship to you?
She's my cousin.
She's your cousin, okay. And I read your pleadings. You had, Miss Wilson was living with you for a while.
Exactly.
How did that all happen?
Well, it started in my third trimester. I had a very difficult pregnancy, and my husband wasn't really able to help me around the house. We have a huge house.
Right. Why couldn't your husband help you?
Well, he's a pediatric surgeon.
Oh, okay.
So he works long hours, 12 to 16 hours a day. So I would feel selfish if I asked him to help me around the house. So I talked to my mom about it, and she's retired. I mean, I didn't want to ask her to come and help either because they were living in Florida.
Okay.
So she suggested that my cousin, her sister's daughter, come to the house and help me.
Okay, so her mother's your aunt.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what were you doing at the time you got this call?
I was just a cashier. I was living in Gainesville, Florida. And, you know, I was looking for mentors and things like that, so my mom thought it would be a good idea to help her out.
Okay. Were you in college in Gainesville?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So you were a cashier?
Yes, ma'am.
So she offered to have you come out to her house, and you had one baby?
Well, I had one baby, but while she was there, because she did end up staying with us, I got pregnant again.
Okay.
But
when she first came to live with you, you had not given birth yet?
Exactly.
Okay, so what were her duties as you told her?
Well, I contracted it out. Even though she was family, I made up a contract.
Of what she was supposed to do?
Of what she was supposed to do.
Let me see the contract. How big is your house?
5,000 square feet.
5,000 square feet.
It's a big house.
How many bedrooms and baths?
We've got 6 bedrooms. There we go.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so the understanding, cleaning, all living spaces are clean, including vacuuming, mopping, dusting, dishes, managing and coordinating maintenance workers, babysitting for $2,500 a month.
Yeah, and also she got to stay in the guest house. That's where she stayed. The living quarters are beautiful.
Right.
She didn't have to pay rent.
Right.
She didn't have to pay any utilities.
Right.
Also, all I wanted her to do was just the
Help you
superficial.
out.
Yeah, and help me out.
So how was it working with your cousin?
Everything was fine when I first got there. It was more towards when she got pregnant the second time.
So how long were you there before she announced she was pregnant again?
I was there for a year.
Okay, for a year, so we got along for a year.
Yeah.
Well, so what changed?
How her attitude, how she was acting, she became crazy. Like she would throw things.
Honey, it was called being pregnant, okay?
Excuse me.
Being pregnant is not an excuse to act like that.
Y'all want to talk about this outside and let me know when you're ready for me?
I'm sorry. Forgive me, Your Honor. I'm sorry.
So you went through the first pregnancy with her. You went through the first pregnancy.
Yeah, she was fine. Everything was
Nothing
fine.
happened in that time.
No.
So what was different this time?
Her attitude, like she changed. Like she was angry all the time.
Right.
Her and her husband.
Did you throw things at her?
That's what she said, but that is not true. I may have slammed.
It's yes and no, because you just said they call it being pregnant, so something must have been true.
I didn't throw nothing at that young lady.
But what was true about what she said then? You said they called that being pregnant. What was true?
Well, I had a difficult pregnancy, and I was irritable a lot of the times.
Right. Were you screaming and yelling?
She may have interpreted it to be as such, but I was not screaming and yelling.
Your husband didn't say you got to stop that screaming and yelling at me?
No.
Yes. Okay, so then what happened then?
Well, I realized when she withdrew from me and started feeding me with a long-handled spoon, I couldn't understand why.
What was she doing to you?
Well, she was just avoiding me. It was like we weren't having our girl talks anymore.
Right. But she wasn't high for girl talk.
That
It's
is
not
true.
in the list of duties.
I know, Your Honor.
Right.
I know, but
But was
still
she
we-
doing what she was supposed to be doing, cleaning and vacuuming and mopping and doing the laundry and washing the dishes?
She was doing all
babysitting
of
and
that.
coordinating workers.
Yes, ma'am.
She did all of that.
She did a great job.
Fabulous. No complaints.
I had no
No
complaints.
complaints at all.
Until
This incident.
Coming up on Supreme Justice,
when I pulled the rug back,
Right.
there was this huge area that was damaged. I had an assessor come out. It was just obvious water damage.
and later,
He also didn't put in his 20 hours a week. It
Okay,
was a
but you
60
didn't put anything in writing. We're trying to reconstruct an agreement.
I have my budget in writing, and I have the email that you have been supplied.
That's it.
Supreme Justice is back with the case of Mariah Leonard, who is suing Joelle Wilson for property damage.
Okay, so we're a year and a half in. Things started to get a little funky at home. Then what happened?
Well, I let her know, like, you know, I had mentors, and they helped me find another job elsewhere. I finally got on my feet.
What was the job?
It's a receptionist job. at
For a
my office.
receptionist.
Yes, sir.
And so you told her what, that you were moving out?
Yes, I gave her a 2-week notice. I put it on a dining room table.
2 weeks notice, a year and a half we've been together, and all I can give you is 2 weeks notice. And let me just ask this question. $2,500 a month and your food and your housing is paid for. You made that much money as a receptionist?
I have to get on my feet, and I can't stay there forever.
The decent thing to have done was to give more than 2 weeks notice. Even when they told you, when you interviewed for that job and they asked you when do you think you start, you say, you know what, normally I would be able to say I could start tomorrow.
But it wasn't
But
specified in the contract.
my cousin Mariah has been good to me, and I feel like I want to give her at least 3 weeks notice. That's what you should have done, but you didn't.
And not only that, when I got the 2-week notice, Your Honor, I said, okay, she's withdrawing from me. She wants to spread her wings. Fine, no big deal.
right.
So I went to the guest house. My mom decided she would come and stay with me until I found more help.
All right.
But here's the thing. When I went to clean up,
When did you start cleaning up?
well, I had to because my mom was coming.
Right.
And I wanted to have everything fixed for her, my mom and my dad.
Right, you had already given birth now to your second child.
I was still pregnant.
How long has she been gone?
About 2 weeks, maybe, about 2 weeks.
So 2 weeks after she left, is the first time you went to the guest house?
No, I just kind of put stuff in there. I would like take little dishes and stuff that I wanted to stock for my mom and dad,
in
certain
there.
little things.
Right, but it looked just looking at it, it looked like it was okay.
Yeah, it was okay until I swept under the rug,
Right.
okay? My husband had just laid these beautiful wood floors down.
When did he do that?
He did that maybe about 8 months prior.
So while she was there, you laid down new wood floors? Is that true?
Yes.
Anyway, Your Honor, when I pulled the rug back,
Right.
there was this huge area that was damaged. I had an assessor come out to the guest house and assess it. The planks were coming up from the boards. It was just obvious water damage. Unfortunately, they don't make those same planks
Right. You
anymore.
got pictures?
I do.
Let me see
yes.
some pictures.
That floor was so damaged. I had the assessor come over. He assessed the damage. Unfortunately, that type of wood, they don't make anymore. It's out of stock.
This right here.
Yeah, and you can't tell from the pictures, but some of the
What
planks
happened with the floor?
I don't know. You have to tell me because,
I don't have to tell you anything.
well, that's unfortunate because I don't know.
Okay.
Well,
Wait. We agreed that the floors got put in when you were living there.
Yes.
We agreed that you were the only one living there.
Yes.
From the time you moved out until 2 weeks later when she found this out, nobody's lived in the guest house? So
Maybe that was damage caused by construction. I'm not sure.
What construction?
Remember when she said they put in new floors like 8 months in?
Right, you were there.
Exactly. So maybe that was damage from that. Maybe
Please.
they damaged something.
Okay, so anywho, let me see your invoice for the new floors. Are you telling me they had to pull up this entire floor for that damage that was really underneath the rug?
They had to because they couldn't replace that one spot because those type of planks They were
I
discontinued.
have a 100-year-old house that had a whole lot of wood damage, and I hunted down till I found those same planks they made 100 years ago. I'm not buying that you needed the entire floor ripped up for this stain. I'm not buying that.
Well, Your Honor, when I tried to call her to ask her about the floor, she never returned my call.
I was
working.
Is this about the floor or are your feelings hurt?
It's both. My feelings
But
are
is
hurt.
it more because your feelings are hurt?
Well, yeah, because she doesn't want to be accountable for the damages.
Maybe you wasted water and didn't realize that it soaked into this rug and damaged the floor. You just didn't know about it. But the grown-up thing to do is to admit that I'm responsible. No excuses about it.
If I was responsible, I would mention.
I was wrong, and I'm responsible. I didn't mean to do it, but it happened while I was staying in your house.
If I did it, I would mention that I did it, and I would tell her. Why lie about it?
Maybe
They have enough money to get it
maybe you
fixed.
didn't realize it happened. This is what I'm trying to say to you.
Okay, maybe.
We all agreed that nobody else was staying there. But I'm not giving you $4,607. I'm going to give you half of that because I don't believe that entire floor needed to be replaced. I'm going to give you $2,300. How are you going to pay that $2,300?
I can just get it from my savings.
Oh, you got $2,300? Oh, well,
just
yeah,
can't
you were
move out.
living in a house for a year and a half.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, I'm ready to rule judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,300. Good luck to you both.
Judge Karen has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $2,300.
You know, I'm glad it worked out the way it did, and it's just good that you have to be accountable for what you do. But you know you're always welcome to come back and stay.
Thank you, and I'll pay you back. And thank you for the opportunity.
Coming up,
Before we did this, he knew that his salary was contingent upon him raising that money. This entire festival was contingent on his $10,000 raising.
Writing.
event promoter Joel Turner is suing Paula Evans in the amount of $400. Mr. Turner claims Ms. Evans hired him to organize a comedy festival fundraiser and says he's still owed for his services. Ms. Evans claims Mr. Turner's salary was contingent on the amount raised and says he didn't meet the crowdsourcing goal as promised.
Mr. Turner, you're suing Ms. Evans for $400 that you claim she owes you for organizing an event?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so is that what you do for a living?
Yes, ma'am. That is what I do for a living. I'm a promoter.
Okay.
And I was hired by Miss Evans to promote a comedy festival for her, and we agreed upon a rate. But
What was the rate that you agreed upon?
The rate was $400 for 20 hours.
Is that right?
Per 20 hours of work.
Okay, so was there any agreement if you were to exceed the 20 hours?
Yes, there was a statement that the hours would be fluid.
Did you guys have a contract?
We had a verbal agreement, and we shared emails between each other explaining the details.
Right. Okay. Do you have copies of your emails?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Okay. It's very archaic, you know, emails.
Yes.
I'm okay with the rate you mentioned, $400 at 20 hours a week. We can keep it fluid, as some weeks you may not need to work that many hours once everything is up and running. What did that mean to you?
Well, if you look at the top of the email, it says that his primary goal is to be fundraising. Fundraising is mentioned several times throughout the email, and that his goal is to be raising $10,000 so that I can put on this comedy festival.
It's to help me raise $10,000. These are your words. Your goal is to help me raise $10,000.
Correct. He is the promoter for the event, and as such, he was to set up a crowdsourcing
Did you
fundraiser.
set up crowdsourcing?
Yes, I did create a crowdfunding page for...
How much did you raise there?
On that crowdfunding page, we only managed to raise $4,000.
$4,000. Now, what do you do for a living?
I am a stand-up comedian.
Well, do you have a name? Can you raise money just on your name? People want to come because you, Ms. Evans, are a part of the program.
I am notorious throughout the Northeast.
Coming up,
Before we did this, he knew that his salary was contingent upon him raising that money. This entire festival was contingent on his $10,000 raising.
Writing.
Supreme Justice is back with the case of Joel Turner. who is suing Paula Evans for non-payment of services.
What else did you do to promote it?
I reached out to all my contacts as well as the contacts that she provided me.
Okay, so
And
you
I
did
reached-
provide him contacts too?
Absolutely.
Okay.
This festival is completely my baby, so
Right.
I fronted the money for all
How
of
much
the
money
marketing
did you put up?
for the venue. Up front, there was probably about $2,000, and another $4,000, maybe like $8,000.
Okay,
I
let me
have a
see-
breakdown
yeah, let me
of
see
the
breakdown.
budget
Did you
here
know
that I
that
can
she
give you.
had put up $8,000 of her money?
I was not aware of that.
Absolutely. And he also knew, Your Honor, that his salary was contingent upon this crowdfunding that he did.
Right, but y'all didn't put this
He
in
also
writing.
didn't put in his 20 hours a week. It
Okay,
was a
but you didn't put anything in writing. We're trying to reconstruct an agreement.
I have my budget in writing, and I have the email that you have been supplied.
That's it.
And
That's what we got.
I have my invoices in writing.
Okay, but when did you send the invoices?
I sent the invoices after the crowdfunding ended, 2 days before the event. I sent my invoices in, and she responded saying that she wasn't happy and that she wanted to only pay me $400, even though the invoices stated that I would be paid $800. So she snubbed me for half of it.
He's only working 6 hours a week versus 20, which was my
That is-
expectation.
That is true. I did, and I mentioned the invoices do reflect that I did put in 6 to 7 hours per week, but
Right.
it all added up to a total of 40 hours. Therefore, at a rate of $20 an hour, I should make $800.
$800, right.
Judge Karen's verdict when Supreme Justice returns.
Thing is, you should have made it clear.
And in the future, I
Because
will
you didn't
definitely be
make
putting things
it
in
clear
writing.
that it's open to interpretation, and I interpreted to me fluid means it could be more than that.
And it was always
We might have gotten up to $15,000 in the crowdfunding. And now that you know it, I've worked 50 hours because I've done so much. What you have said to them, oh no, I'm not
Contingent
going to
upon
give you,
him raising
I'm not going to
$10,000.
give you more than $400. If he had raised you $20,000 from crowdsourcing, you would have been paying him the $800.
Before we did this, he knew that his salary was contingent upon him raising that money. This entire festival was contingent on his $10,000 raising.
Writing. He gave you an invoice. You're not really objecting to the invoice. You paid him $400. You owe him $400. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $400.
Judge Karen has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant is ordered to pay $400.
I feel that you took advantage of me, but I'm glad that now you'll be paying me what I'm owed.
I think I was clear.